Good afternoon, everyone. We want to thank you all for participating in today's webinar. I have a few notes before we begin. Earlier today, a webinar workbook was emailed to pre-registered attendees. If you did not receive a copy, you can download one now under the handout section of your webinar dashboard. The workbook will serve as a reference for today's information. During today's webinar, all lines will be muted, but you are encouraged to submit questions during the presentation by using the questions feature or chat box on the dashboard on the right-hand side of your screen. If you have any difficulty, please email us at webinar@mdpublishing.com. MD Publishing is excited to offer today's special presentation for our webinar series. John Krieg, President of MD Publishing, will discuss tips to help you engage your audience and reach your target market. John, you may begin whenever you are ready.
Thank you, Bethany. I appreciate that kind introduction. Welcome, everyone, to our webinar Wednesday. A little special webinar today that's dealing more with companies and their marketing and advertising. And today's webinar will be tips to engage your target audience. We hope you have real takeaways on what companies are doing these days to engage their audience and grow their companies. So a little background on MD Publishing. We do, of course, magazines, but we also have 4 annual trade shows. We have search engine marketing. We do digital and design. We help companies with full round menu of advertising and marketing needs. So as I said, I started the company back in 1997, and we have 3 monthly healthcare publications, Medical Dealer, OR Today, and Tech Nation. We have 4 annual medical conferences, and as I said, we specialize in creative development for companies. Our conferences, now numbering 4, we just finished our Imaging Conference and Expo last week in Indianapolis. For imaging service professionals, we have OR Today Live, our inaugural conference for OR directors and supervisors in Las Vegas at the end of August. And then, of course, our 2 flagship conferences, MD Expo, will be coming up in October in Las Vegas, and then also next year we'll be in Dallas in April, and then Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. We'll be heading up to New England next fall, 2016. So what is our mission here? Well, our job is to help medical equipment, parts, sales, and service companies acquire, manage, and retain customers. So just like we're going to try to show you some insight as to engaging your customers, we have the exact same mission here at MD Publishing. Maybe you guys have not tried anything new as far as marketing or advertising goes. Maybe you're stuck in the old traditional ways. Well, just like we've had to evolve from print into the digital age, if you want something new in your life you've never had, you have to do something you've never done. So what is marketing? Marketing is a very broad term, of course, and it encompasses all of these different parts of marketing, whether it's advertising, whether it's branding, what's the strategy, what's promotion. So here's some good basic 101s on advertising. A definition of advertising is bringing a product or service to the attention of potential and current customers. Promotion is keeping your product in the minds of the customer and helps stimulate demand for the product. And promotion involves ongoing advertising and publicity. Marketing is the function of catching and keeping customers. So a little background on advertising. One of the original icons of the advertising and sales generation back in the day was William Wrigley. And he was a founder of Wrigley Gum, of course, and he was asked why he continued to invest in advertising his product even though Wrigley Gum dominated the market. And he said it's simple. If you think of sales as the train, advertising is the engine. If you cut off the engine, which is advertising, then the train will come slowly to a halt. So effectively getting the word out to the market about your product or service is crucial to your company's success. So branding, a very important part of marketing. What is it and why is it important? Well, a brand is defined as a name, logo, symbol, words, or a combination of all those, and it's intended to really distinguish a particular company's offerings from those of the competitors. In one sense, a brand is a promise, and if you think of some of the top brands, you immediately know what they promise. These are some of the most iconic logos in the business world. Coca-Cola, of course, Nike. When you think of Volvo, you think of safety. When you think of Apple, you think of cool innovation. So all of these brands have a certain meaning behind them. And great brands command esteem, loyalty, awareness from all over the entire consumer, as well as B2B markets. And it's very important, especially in our industry, as you see some of the logos and some of the brands, that a strategic, powerful brand exerts real positive impact on lots of different aspects of the organizational performance. Employee motivation. Employees that work for companies with strong brands are more engaged than those who have weaker ones. Memorable. A brand serves as a convenient container for reputation and goodwill. And then loyalty. When you have a really good experience with a memorable brand, you're more than likely to keep buying from that product or service again. So a quick little workbook for you internally. You might want to share this with some of your team, your marketing people in your company. Ask yourself these questions. What do our employees think of our company? What about your customers? What do they think of your company and your company's brand? And then what do you think the industry perception is of your brand? And then what do our competitors think about us? Really good questions to have with your marketing team. So where do you start? Well, I think a good place to start is, what does your current marketing campaign say about your company? What are you doing currently? What is in place? So one of the things I want to share right now, which is really important, is the new digitized buying process. Of course, digital has become the way of the world these days when it comes to advertising and getting the product out there. Well, there's different ways now to have your customer or your prospect aware of who you are and what your product or service is. So if you look at this funnel, it has awareness at the top, and that is where you plant the seed of your product or service in the consumer's head. If you go to the right on the chart, you can see that offline there are ways to plant the seed. Those are the traditional ways. The old billboard, TV, newspaper, print ads, trade shows, all the ways that are not online. And then, of course, we have a new vertical way that for people can become aware of you, and that is online. Banner ads, your website, emails, everything that would be digital. And once that funnel goes down, the customer is now aware. It may have been 3 months ago at a trade show they heard about you. It may have been a print ad they saw this month or an article they read. It could have been a brochure that one of your sales reps left behind in a facility. So now they're aware of you. They may not need you right then and there, but certainly down the road, all of a sudden a PO comes across or the need arises. And then, boom, they consider you. And when they consider you, offline is they might ask for some recommendations, some referrals, some testimonials. Online, they might go and check on any reviews they might have about your company. What are people saying out in the industry? What is the online reputation? And then once they're aware of you, once they consider you, then they purchase it. And once they purchase it, now you're going to be able to search the web to see what other people have done. And then they review repeat. So when they review repeat, old way is going to be word of mouth. The new way is going to be leaving testimonials, leaving comments, leaving forums about the company and what they have done with your purchase. So if you look down the funnel, it's a very complex journey these days. It's not as simple as saying I saw this ad and I picked up the phone and bought the product. There are different ways that consumers are influenced by all the different forms of media. Online, offline, content sites, search directories, business sites, blogs, online, offline, all those different ways. So where can you say the actual purchase came from? Well, the sale came from everywhere. You have to have different pieces of the pie to fill in the entire marketing process. So target audience, very important to target your specific audience. One of the ways we want to talk about ways to engage your prospect consumer is to go over ways that companies go to your website now. This is a stat, it's a couple of years old, but it's still very relevant, of traffic by source. Where do people come from that visit your website? Well, if you look at the orange color, 41%, that's organic. I'm going to go over a few examples of what organic is for those of you who don't know. But basically, they are putting in search terms into one of the many search engines online, Google being the biggest one, but there's also Yahoo, Bing. But with that is an organic search where they searched a query and they found you organically and they clicked on that link to go to your website. That's about 4 out of 10. The blue is going to be direct. That's going to be that they actually knew your URL. Maybe they had it bookmarked. Maybe they just typed it in. Maybe they saw it in an ad and typed it in. Maybe they saw it from your business card, other forms of traditional advertising. So that's another 4 out of 10. So now you're at 8 out of 10 people found you either organically through a search query or they knew your URL directly. The next piece is going to be the green. That is going to be a referral. That means they were referred to you by another site. So they may have seen you on an MD Publishing page or MedWrench or any of the other industry news sites out there, and they saw your ad in an article or a banner, and they clicked on you and they went to your site. So that's over 9 out of 10. People that were, the traffic that came to your website were by those methods. The others are going to be paid search. We'll go over that as well. And then social media and email and other. Certainly social media is growing as ways to drive people to your website from the different content marketing methods, and we're going to go over that as well. So this is a good real snapshot of exactly how people come to your website. By the way, if you have any questions, feel free to use the questions feature on the right-hand side. I'll be happy to interrupt the presentation at any time. Okay, so 2 of the big words right now are inbound and outbound marketing, 2 different methods. Outbound marketing, that is when you take your message, your brand, whatever you're providing for the product and service, you're taking that out to the marketplace. So those strategies are going to be your print ads, your banner ads, your trade shows, and your sponsorship at the events, old school telemarketing, cold calling, press releases, email marketing, direct mail. All of those are still very relevant, very important in your business decision as to how you want to market your company. Quick poll, Jamie. Love to know what current outbound marketing avenues do they currently use?
John, right now the attendees are able to see the question, which outbound marketing avenues are you currently using, and you're able to select all that apply. Your selection can be print ads, banner ads, trade show and sponsorship, email marketing, or direct marketing. We'll give you a couple of more minutes to get your vote in. It looks like about half the audience has selected. And we'll go ahead and close out the poll, and I'm going to share the results with everyone. And John, you'll see that email marketing was #1 with 73%. Right behind it is trade shows and sponsorships with 65%. Close behind and tied for 3rd would be print ads and direct marketing, with banner ads as the last with 42%.
Well, I think that's pretty accurate as far as relative to what we see out there in the market. That is outbound marketing. As we just mentioned, still very relevant in today's marketing methods. But then we have also inbound. Inbound is when the customers and prospects come to you. So how do we do that? Well, that's when they come to your website. They might listen to a webinar like today. Social media marketing, they're on your Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn account, and they see something that you're doing that would drive them to you, to your website. Blogging, content marketing, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And then search engine optimization, how optimized is your website? Do you have good, rich, unique content that is on your site that is fueling the search engine so that they find you organically? And then pay-per-click advertising. That's how Google makes 95% of their money. It's where you pay Google to get found, to have guaranteed traffic. Although it might not be the target market you're looking for, they will drive people to your door for a hefty price. So what do some of the leading companies do? Well, they kind of customize. They look at the exact right mix of inbound and outbound to attract customers and strengthen their long-term relationships. So as far as that goes, Jamie, another quick poll. What inbound marketing avenues are people currently using?
Great. The poll is showing right now for all of the attendees. Again, the question does read, which inbound marketing avenues are you currently using? Again, you can select as many options that apply to your current advertising campaign, and the options include website, social media marketing, blogging and content marketing, search engine optimization, or pay-per-click advertising. We are about at 70% of the audience has voted. I'll go ahead and close the poll and share the results. And John, it was a landslide, 92% choose website. Right behind it, 65% with social media marketing. And then SEO would be 54%. The other options slightly behind with 31 and 23%.
Well, good. I'd like to know who the 8% are that do not have a website. Need to talk to them. But also, more importantly, the content marketing, which is such a big buzzword these days, looks like perhaps not a lot of people know what it is. So I'm looking forward to explaining that a little bit more in detail. So that is the, again, going backwards, that is inbound marketing. When consumers and prospects come to you through those different avenues, website, webinar, social media, blogging, content marketing. So what is content marketing? Great question. Not a lot of people are familiar with it. So it's basically a strategic marketing approach, again, one more form of marketing that focuses on creating and distributing valuable, relevant, consistent content to attract and retain a clearly defined audience and ultimately drive a good customer action. So these are different ways to have content marketing: webinar, blog posts, social media, custom articles, industry news that's been repurposed, videos, of course, white papers, e-blast, custom promotional items. The name of the game these days, folks, is to have great SEO, great search engine optimization. All of this content marketing, as I said before, fuels the search engines to help find you organically. So what is an example of that? One of the examples is we have many people who write articles for our magazines. They will then take those articles and they will place them on not just their own personal website, but other websites in the industry. That is going to feed search engines to find that article and ultimately find your company's website. Social media. Jamie might be able to go into detail a little bit later more on that, but basically when you're posting on your Facebook page and people are sharing that information, there's going to be, hopefully when you do a post, there's going to be a link back to your website to read what that post might be or read that article. E-blast, getting your message out to your mailing list that have subscribed and opted in to receive more company news and information. Having a place on your homepage for company news, for industry news, taking articles that might be on how to repair CTs from Medical Dealer Magazine, placing those up on your website. All of that is critical for good, fresh content because the search engines love changes, they love fresh, they love consistent news and feeding of the news on people's websites to keep the search engines optimized. That's exactly what that word means. So what should you do? Well, the good companies out there are having strategies. They determine the right mix of inbound versus outbound. They're not going to abandon the traditional ways because many people are thinking that they need to build a website and they'll just come. That's not true. You have to have a map. You have to show people how to get there. They're not going to. You might have a great website, but if there's no path to get there, there's no one going to get on the road. So you have to have people show them the URL, show them the Facebook links, show them all these different ways, and then of course the name of the game is to execute. Another quick poll, if you could, Jamie, how old are people's current websites? Because that's very important when it comes to good search engine optimization.
Sure. Right now, John, the question is posted, how old is your current website? Your choices, please select only one, is less than 1 year, 1 to 3 years, 4+ years, or we do not currently have a website. I'll give you a couple of minutes while you're still logging your answer, just to remind that if you do have any questions today, you can submit them anytime via the question feature or the chat box on your dashboard on the right-hand side. John is going to wrap up today with a Q&A. Let's go ahead and share the results of this poll. And you'll see that it's pretty neck and neck. A typical website is 1 to 3 years or 4+ years. 15% have a brand new website that's less than 1 year old, and 8% do not have a website.
Okay. That seems to be in line with what we see in the industry as well. I will say that the websites that are over 3 to 4 years old probably are going to be a little bit outdated when it comes to search engine optimization. It's also going to be a little bit outdated when it comes to the platforms that web designers and programmers use these days. They've really simplified the process. WordPress is a very popular website platform. That's what we use here. Even companies as big as CNN use them. And it's basically a very user-friendly way to manage your website on the back end, to update text, photos, articles, add new menu items. So it's very simple to maintain and great for the search engine optimization. So getting back, thank you for that poll. I want to talk to you really quickly about what organic and paid search is. So if I go to the website here, and I'm on Google, and I put in the search query, GE ultrasound machines. So as you look, you've got ads up here on the top. This is what they refer to as paid search, a paid search campaign. This is when you pay Google to be found. When you type in the exact words, GE ultrasound machines, people have bid on these words, and there's a certain price, depending on the popularity of the search terms, as to how much you will pay. Once you click on one of these links, Google then takes money out of your account, and you have now paid for that click. That's why they call it paid click. If you look over here to the right, these are more ads down the right-hand side here. Those are all paid search as well. So paid search here and paid search here. Everything underneath here, starting right here, is going to be organic. All of these are organic results. And as you know, organic results are a direct result of search engine optimization. How good was your content on your website to be found? Once people click on that and they visit your site, hopefully you all have what they call a Google Analytics tied to your website. If you do not, write that down. It's called Google Analytics. It's a free service as long as you have a Gmail account that tracks the behavior of all the users that come to your site. And I've clicked on an example here of what the Google Analytics page looks like. And if you go to the page here, you'll see that you can do it by month, by year, and it tracks. Right now we're on the sessions. This is for our MedWrench sister company. And you can see how many sessions we had, how many users were that month, the total page views, how many pages per session, which is very important. Average session duration, 2 minutes and 5 seconds. For those of you who don't know, the average time spent on a website across the entire World Wide Web is less than a minute. It's about 50 seconds. So it's always important to know exactly how long people are staying on your site. Bounce rate, very important. Bounce rate is basically how many people come to your website and then leave the home page. They don't dig any deeper. You always want a lower bounce rate. And then always important to know the new sessions. So it's not just the users that you can track. You can also track the behavior. You can see exactly what pages are going to. So if you take, for example, MedWrench, you can see that they're going mostly to the sign-in because it's a user-based website. Then they go to the search results. They're joining conversations, questions and answers, register a new account, listing of instruments. You can really tag what kind of behavior the user is using. I will tell you that from our clients that we have, the website analytics that we track for them and share results is going to be across the board pretty much the same. They're going to be looking at products in your inventory, and they're going to be looking at about us. What's the history of the company, and who are the people they're dealing with? When we build websites for companies as well as ours, we always have a little personal invitation to know who the people are. I'll show you an example of that with MD Publishing's homepage. When you come to our page, of course, we have all the different products we offer, but then you go to the About, and that's going to be a little snapshot of our team there. And you click on one person. I'm going to pick on John Riley, our creative director. Hometown, family, what his loves are, maybe favorite college football team. Really, people like to know who they're dealing with in business. So it's always nice to get to know somebody on a personal level, especially in an industry such as ours where it's a lot of phone and email. Always good to get to know who the person is that they're talking to. So back to the presentation. And people like to know, what does a typical campaign look like? We have many different types of clients here at MD Publishing. Some are the entire grocery store, and some might just be one or two aisles. So if you look at this, this is what a multimedia strategy looks like. It's a campaign circle, if you will, and at the top you'll see print, whether it's an annual campaign, full page, quarter page. Companies like to have a presence there to engage their customer and their audience by having that message in front of them. Print is still one of the I believe it's one of the top 3 ways that people are driven to your website. Trade shows, just finished one last week, the Imaging Conference and Expo, and we participate in not just ours, of course, but others as well. Really important relationship building, face-to-face time. You can never replace a handshake, and getting that face time with your customer. Search and optimization, always important because that's how people are going to find you in the Google search query. Website, of course, keeping it up to date, keeping the fresh content on there, telling your users and your customers about the products and services you have, updating your inventory. Social media. We stick to Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. There are many different ways to reach all of those at the same time to eliminate on extra work time, but we do campaigns for clients on a weekly basis where we help them, and I think we're going to go into that a little bit further, Jamie. Digital ads, of course, very important to get the banners out there and the paid articles online, and then the e-blasts, using other people's websites, or excuse me, using other people's email lists to send your message, as well as keeping track of your own mailing list and using somebody like Constant Contact to send your message out. So this is what a typical well-rounded campaign. If you remember the funnel, looking at the top of the funnel, this covers a lot of what that funnel is as far as many different ways you're being influenced on your purchasing decision. Some bonus tips to help engage your audience. A little cheat sheet here, if you will, and we're going to be sharing this presentation online for you, so no need to worry you're going to get these. So number one, in the digital era, you need to make sure your website is optimized. It's critical. Making sure the keywords are on the pages to help drive traffic to your site. And then, of course, having your website be a major part of your marketing efforts. People look at your print ad, they look at your trade show booth, they look at your brochure. Their first step is going to be go to your website to see what kind of company you are. Number 3, customers want to know you're human. Tell your story. Again, we talked about the photos of your employees, their habits, their likes or dislikes. Get to know the person behind the phone. Consistency. Make sure that people can recognize your brand instantly no matter what they see in your message. Don't change your colors. Don't change your logo. Keep your same message out there that's consistent. Number 5, more prospects you see on a regular basis, the more they will think of you and they need you. We say many ways, many days here. If you're trying to sell your house, you don't want to take it down during the week and only in the weekend. You never know when that prospect's going to be there. So just like that, you want to make sure your message is consistent out there. Think big. Small companies can make themselves look bigger, more capable through campaigns. Perception is reality. So with your advertising campaign, doesn't matter whether you're a big company or small company, think big. Number 7, send useful information to everyone in the industry so you now have the expertise and knowledge. Be an industry leader. Stay in touch with your clients in creative ways with e-news blasts and your Facebook posts and things like that. Use social media. It's free. It keeps your brand in front of your followers, and again, optimizes your search engine ranking as well as drives traffic to your site. Number 9, no better way to get your name out there than sponsoring an event. We have many sponsors at our events, and the attendees really appreciate the goodwill. There's a presence there. They tie that sponsorship into helping support the show and also the industry, and that goes a very long way as far as goodwill. And then number 10, don't stray. The effective marketing and advertising takes time. Rebranding constantly can account for time and money lost. You have to let things simmer. You have to let them marinate and keep it consistent. So those are the 10 bonus tips. Here are 10 critical questions to consider when you're trying to create your new advertising strategy. What would your perfect ad look like? These are questions that when we get a new client or somebody that wants to have a new strategy for their advertising, these are questionnaire. These are questions in a questionnaire that we review with a knowledge session with the new advertiser. What would the perfect ad look like? And what action would compel your audience to take? How many times do you feel a new customer needs to see your advertising message before they make a decision to do business with the company? How much would the perfect marketing plan cost you a month? If you bring in one new client, what is that worth to you? What is a lifetime client worth to you to bring in one new one? Number 5, what ads have worked for you in the past? Why did they work and why didn't they work? Good questions to ask. Number 6, is your company debuting any new products or services? We need to make sure that's part of a good campaign. 7, what role does social media play in your advertising campaign? Do you have a presence? Do you need? I will tell you that most companies we deal with that we do social media campaigns for, they think they can handle it internally. They build the Facebook page or LinkedIn. They post to it month, 2 months. Next thing you know, it gets put on the back burner, and before you know it, it's been dead and dying on the vine for about 2 or 3 months, and that's worse than having not even having a page at all. So you've got to constantly feed that on a regular, weekly basis. Number 8, do you have any new videos or promote your company? Videos. It's the #1 search engine in the world, YouTube. It's the most popular link on anyone's website. If you have a video, short, sweet, you can do them now with a phone, and it's really good for search engine optimization. Do you have a system in place to track your advertising? What's your rate of return? When people do answer the phone or you do get email inquiries, do you ask where they're coming from? Do you ask how you heard about them? Always important to track. And then last but not least, what business or competitor do you feel does a great job? No such thing as a new wheel. Let's take an old one and make it look better. Somebody's doing it out there, maybe in a different industry, and if you like that, nothing wrong with modeling that success after yours. So we have a special going with our webinar today. It's going to be for this week only, but we are going to do a free SEO audit of your current website. We're going to have our web developers and programmers take a look at your website and see exactly where you rank on the search engines. Where do your competitors rank? What are the search queries that you need to have your customer type in that you want to get found by? We can do that for you at no charge and find out exactly where you rank. All you got to do is call the 800 number on your screen. And here are some clients that we're currently working with in regards to print and web and digital and design services. And that's going to be the end of the presentation. So I want to thank everybody for your time, and I'll take any questions if you have them right now.
Excellent. Thank you, John. Yes, we do have a handful of questions, so we'll just get them going here. The first question is, what is the average percentage a company allocates to marketing?
Oh, great question. It ranges depending on the industry or whether you're retail or you're consumer focused or B2B. I will say that on average we have found clients will spend anywhere from, at the low end 1% all the way up to 5% of annual revenue. And that's going to include the trade show budget, the print, the digital, your website maintenance, all of that. If you combine all that, it's going to be in the very low end 1% and as much as 5% of your annual revenue.
Excellent. Okay, another question for you. What does a typical social media campaign look like, and how do you judge its return on investment?
John, I think I'll speak to that. This is Jamie. I'm sales rep for the magazines as well as our other products with MD Publishing. And our typical social media campaign that we do on behalf of a lot of companies in the industry are going to be made up of 2 key factors. One is going to be a unified look across all of their social media accounts, be it Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, even Instagram. The accounts that they choose to use are the ones that we want to make sure we're bringing them all in line with their website. The other key feature is going to be consistency. So we'll make a minimum of 2 posts per week, and I personally like to keep 1 post professional and 1 post a little personal. Professional being giving information on shows that are coming up in the industry that they may be attending or exhibiting, Also, any industry news or articles that their company has been featured in or that would pertain to their market, products, and services. And the personal post that I like to do would be a little insight into the company, something that you could potentially see on their About Us page, maybe a special lunch that they had that week, a promotion, or new clients or even new employees that are coming on. We're also going to back up that social media campaign with at least one monthly blog added to their website. The key is social media should never be used to bring in sales. It's not really an e-commerce vehicle. The importance of social media and the consistency and fresh content that we're putting out there for the companies in our industry, the key is going to be helping them with their organic search rankings on Google. Anytime that you're putting information out, linking it back to your website, if people are using keywords, even your company name or phrases that's appearing in this, then it's going to always pull you up higher in the ranking.
Excellent. Okay. Another question came in. How has print advertising changed in the digital age?
Great question. Obviously, it went through a little bit of a change and turmoil back in the digital presence of mid-2000s, late 2000s. But we're seeing, as the industry is seeing, a comeback in print because when people abandon print, whether it's a catalog in the mail and they only do an email for a catalog, it always helps to have it in your hands to drive that message. So print is actually the #3 driver of all people to your website. First is YouTube, second is Google, and then third is going to be print advertising. So again, the average time spent on our magazines is about 38 minutes per publication per user. They're going to pass that along to other people, as other magazines are. So they're really spending time, and as we say, they surf the net, but they swim in magazines. So they're really spending a lot more time in the print realm. And is also cost per thousand is always going to be the most cost-effective way is going to be print. You're not paying a lot of money to reach that target audience.
Very good. Another question came in, and John, I'm not sure if you want to address this, or perhaps this might be better suited for Betsy, our senior web developer. The question is, my inventory changes on my website all the time, multiple times per day. Do I need to create and update a news page all the time?
John, I'll go ahead and take this one. Assuming that you have an e-commerce site, product changes in inventory would be reflected on the e-commerce or catalog portion of your website, and the products should remain available there, shown as if they're not in your warehouse or in your stock, then they could be shown as being available, and you could either drop ship or they could be shown as being back ordered. And as long as they haven't been discontinued, they should remain in your catalog section. But a news page really should be used for press releases covering new products or enhanced product functionality or ways that your product is changing the marketplace. It can also include reposts and repurposing of content where your article has been featured. So that's really what the intent of a news page is, and that will help bump up your SEO rankings just because you have fresh content on there. So I highly recommend maintaining a news page.
And let me add to that. I know that one of the biggest ways people bounce off of a site is if they go to it and they have the inventory yet online, but it's not available when they call. So that's a very big turnoff. You always need to have that inventory. If it's online, please make sure that you still have it in stock.
Excellent.
Just want to add that.
Great. We've got another question, but first I do want to remind attendees you can still submit the questions using the questions feature in your dashboard or the chat feature. Okay, another question that came in. What is the difference between Google Analytics and Google AdWords? Which is more important?
Well, two completely different things. Let me go back to the internet that I showed earlier. And if you go to the GE Ultrasound machines, the Google AdWords are these advertisements right here. This one, and this one, as well as over here. Those are Google AdWords. Companies have set up campaigns through Google to put in certain keywords in search queries to get found. When they get found, you would then type in the query, you're found, you click here, you paid money to Google. Average price for clicks in our industry ranges anywhere from low end $1 all the way up to $8 to $10. Expensive, each click. So when you set up a campaign and you have $1,000 and it's at $5 a click, you're going to get 200 visits to your website. That is how Google AdWords works. We do that all the time for customers. And the key to all of that is that you're paying for search traffic to your site. You do not know who's clicking on it. You do not know if that's your target market or not. So it can be very expensive to put an AdWord campaign. Now, you can target it. You can target it to different states, to different regions, to different cities, different words. You only want people to, you only get found on the words that you put into the back end. There's no cost to put in as many words or search queries as possible. But the name of the game with Google is the more you spend, the more hits you're going to get and traffic to your website. He with the most money will win as far as traffic is concerned. That is what Google AdWords is. Google Analytics, on the other hand, is going to be what we showed you earlier, where it's simply a way to track the traffic to your site. You go to Google Analytics, and the page I showed you earlier where it shows you the traffic and the user, the behavior, that is just simply a function of measuring who is coming to your site, what the behavior is while they're there, what pages they view. So as far as analytics, it's free. You should have it on your site, no charge, and it just tracks how many hits, what the sessions are, what the bounce rate is. Completely different than Google AdWords.
Perfect. Thank you, John. Okay, this is going to call for the conclusion. Thank you, John, for your time and information you've shared. Attendees, remember a post-webinar survey will appear as soon as today's presentation is completed. If you have any questions, please feel free to email us at webinarmdpublishing.com or give us a call at 800-906-3373. Thank you all, and have a great rest of your afternoon.